Since the first sale we've ever made, we've always tracked all of our data on a custom spreadsheet. And because we did that, we're able to analyze all of our data, including how much we sold in 2020. Let's get into it. If you're brand new to our channel, welcome. Thanks for giving us this opportunity. My name is Edin. This is my beautiful wife, Melinda. Together, we're known as Hustle and Hooks here and on Instagram. Today, we're going to review a couple of things, how we did in December, and then also our 2020 total sales. So we can give you an idea of how lucrative reselling can truly be. And remember, I work full-time, Melinda works part-time, and she parents our kid when she's not at work. So this is technically part-time also, but at the same time, we're kind of maniacs and we worked our butts off in 2020.
So just to recap the last month of 2020, our December gross sales, remember this includes shipping, cost of goods, everything, was $13,996.95. So rounded up, it's about $14,000.
We did not make $14,000.
Right.
Keep that in mind. It's the gross amount without any deductions.
After all the deductions, we netted $7,874.77. So that's net taxable income. That does not account for the taxes being taken out yet. Compare that to December 2019, when we were into this journey about 3-4 months. December 19th, our net was $2,291.11. So we increased that by over $5,000.
That to me, that's pretty crazy. If you really think about how far we've come to go from like not knowing much at all about eBay or reselling in general, and within a year, month to month comparison, $5,000 net profit more. That's,
I'll take that.
Hats off to us.
That's a good raise to give yourself every year.
Yeah, for sure. So now it's like, that's kind of the expectation, because if you look at the last 5 months or so, we've averaged between $6,000 and $7,000 net profit per month, and that's kind of the standard now.
Yeah, and obviously we've been continuing to grow. We've been continuing to push. We've gotten more efficient. We've gotten better as time has gone on. In December, our average listings were at 398. We had over twice that this December. It was 837.
And that's something that we've kept track of as well since the beginning, because it's important to us to understand how much of our inventory we're actually selling. And I'll tease a little bit. I'm developing a brand new spreadsheet that'll be available for purchase within the next week or so, and we'll definitely give you a lot more information on that. But that new spreadsheet is going to allow you to track your numbers even much better and more efficient than what we did in this version of this Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, I actually tried that spreadsheet out, and it's awesome. It's great. It's 100 times better, I would say, than this system that we were using.
And I showed it to our regional director of sales at my job, and she's like, "What? You built this?" It's like, "Yeah, I built that." So anyways, we'll get that to you guys. It'll be available soon.
Yeah, so a couple more numbers about December before we get into our whole year of 2020. Our net per sale was $28.12. We would have preferred that to be closer to 30. That's where we like to be around. But we did also have the most number of sales this last December, and that was 280 sales. So more sales meant that having a little bit less of a net still equaled out to a really good gross sales month and net sales month as well.
And that's one thing that we've always tried to push. Obviously, the number of sales is something that we want to continue to increase per month, as that's obviously a way to grow revenue.
Right.
But the average net profit per item sold is super important, because if you sold 280, let's say, CDs for a net profit average of $3 a piece or $2 a piece, you're only talking a couple $100 of profit. But when you're selling items at an average of $28, $30, net per item, now you're starting to accumulate some serious revenue. And as you're listening to this and hopefully taking notes and maybe some advice, really start looking at your own store if you have one, or if you're thinking about getting one, and target that business model of small but expensive. You don't want to spend your time selling things for 15 bucks free ship constantly. Of course, once in a while you're going to have that if you're parting out machines or something, or just trying to purge inventory. But look at that, the higher value items. That's what you want to resell.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about the end of the year was we really felt the quarter 4 push a lot more this year than we did last year. We were a new store. We didn't have as many items. So that right at the end there, and even the few days after Christmas, were huge for us. We sold a lot in December. So that accounted for a good portion of those sales that month.
And we didn't do any retail arbitrage to specifically target toys or Christmas gifts. This was literally we didn't change our business model for quarter 4. We still sold shoes, pots and pans, clothing, and vintage electronics, modern electronics, and it still did really well for us.
So I think that's definitely going to be more on our radar even in 2021 coming up to quarter 4. I think we'll probably definitely even prepare more for that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And by that time we might even might even be full-timers by then. Maybe.
So without further ado, let's get into our year in review and talk about those numbers. Guys, our gross sales in 2020 as part-timers was $122,792.45.
$122,000 gross. Entry-level engineer makes $80,000 gross a year. We sold pots and pans, shoes, and electronics and made $122,000 gross. For perspective.
Yeah, that's nuts. And remember, coming in, we were only, September, October, November, December. We were only on our 5th month of reselling when 2020 started. So for us to sit down and look at these numbers, I personally was blown away in a good way, of course, but I just absolutely floored. So again, to reiterate, that is our gross sales. And we do run a free shipping model, and that number does include our shipping costs as well. So over the year, we had 2,448 sales. Our net, so taking out shipping, taking out cost of goods, and taking out fees, came out to $69,157. That's taxable income, so that's not having the tax taken out yet.
Right.
But even taking the tax out, that's more than some people make in a year's gross salary. Hats off to us.
Hats off to us indeed. That's 69,000. So if you take roughly 25% of that, it'll come out to between 45 and 52,000 after deductions and things like that. So remember, consult with your CPA. We're not CPAs. We're not going to tell you how much we're going to pay in taxes, but it's typically just dependent on the tax bracket that you belong in based off of your total income for your family or if you're single. So for us, that's between 20 and 25% roughly. So
right. And that wouldn't obviously include things like insurance either. If we didn't have insurance through our jobs, that would be taken out as well for what we would put in our pocket, because that would be an additional expense too.
Right. Yeah, I'm very proud and very happy. $69,000 net profit. There's almost $0 startup if you're thinking about doing this. $0 to $50 budget will get you started. All it takes is really hard work. And I've been thinking this in my head the last few days. Honestly, it's just whatever happened to that, I'm just going to work hard and create something. Whatever happened to that mindset of you know what, I am tired, but I'm going to stay up a little bit longer and clean a couple more pots and pans tonight. Yeah, you know what, I'm going to wake up a little bit early and get my shipping done first thing in the morning. Whatever happened to that mentality? This isn't a fluke. This is dedication for the last 16 months building a company out of thin air. That's what this is. So
yeah, this was by no means just, oops, we fell into something.
No.
We're constantly tired. But when we see these numbers, this is what makes it worth it for us. We can see that we're building something.
Yeah.
And we can see that those late nights, early mornings, weekends where we drop our kid off and I don't get to see her, those are worth it when we see the trajectory that we are putting ourselves on.
Yeah. And that, guys, 122,000 part-time, that means that full-time, at least 200,000 is not unreasonable if we really dedicate ourselves a solid 50 to 60 hours, labor hours per week between ourselves. Like it's just not out of normal to think that way.
The great thing about a reselling business model is that you get out what you put into it.
100%.
Whichever income level you're comfortable with, you can make that. If you want to make more, you just have to work more. If you want to take it easy and you're comfortable, you can do that too. It's just a really awesome feeling to know that you have control over what you're going to make. And you don't always get that, even with the security of a regular job.
Yeah, there is no security. If we've learned anything in 2020, and you probably already know this, there's no security. There's no guarantees in anything. There's no guarantees in this either. But it's a far more guaranteed than anything else that I've ever done career-wise, or that Melinda has ever done career-wise. So, and one other thing I'll mention about these numbers too, we get this question relatively often about what platforms and cross-listing and things. I'll give my 2 cents, and Melinda can agree or disagree, but we're of the mindset that you should really master one platform and then branch out potentially into others. But you should try all the platforms and see which ones you like, which ones you don't like, but really give it an honest try. And if you're thinking about doing this as a hobby, to pay down college debt, to pay off your mortgage, or to turn it into a full-time business, you really need to taste each flavor of what these platforms have to offer, and you have to find the one that works for you. eBay works really well for us. We sell the most on eBay. About 95% of our revenue is generated through eBay. Mm-hmm. The other 5% is, I'll say, 4% is Poshmark, less than 1% is local Facebook marketplace sales, and less than 1% is Etsy.
Right. And that might look different if we were full-time. But for us, it's a lot to manage those different platforms. And we have tried other platforms, and we just decided they weren't for us. Yeah. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying I tried this and it's not my thing, but I can really excel in this platform or in this area or this category even. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with figuring out what works well for you and just taking that and running with it, which is what we did.
One thing I'm going to link in the description below is the 3-part series of what it takes to get to 100K in sales. I really, if this is your first time watching us, or if you're just interested at all, I would strongly recommend watching that series, starting at episode 1, 2, and 3, just listening and taking some notes, because we've explained how this is possible. We've covered all those subjects and what we believe is, the necessary information that you need to have to really be successful at this. And a lot of it is I don't want to say it's common sense, but it's just work ethic is going to be one of them. And work ethic is something that you either have or you don't. There's no way around it. But honestly, if I'm sitting in your shoes and I have $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 in college debt, and I'm at a job that I don't really like, and it's only paying 40, 50K a year, I'll start thinking a little bit about the potentials of reselling, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think these numbers say that anybody can do it. We've been saying that since day one. Anybody can do this. There's nothing special about us. We're hard workers. That's our secret sauce. That's our ingredient, is we have really strong work ethics. And Nadine said you either are or you aren't. I believe you can train yourself. I'm not a morning person, but I've had to get up and go to work and be at a job at 7:30, 8 a.m. for God knows how long. Mm-hmm. And I get up and do it. You can always train yourself. You don't have to do it all at once. I think you're setting yourself up for failure if one day you wake up and you be like, I'm going to work till 2 a.m. cleaning shoes, especially if it's by yourself, because that's not realistic. You're not going to do it. And then you're going to say, well, I just can't do it. And then you're going to give up. Mm-hmm. And then you're back to square one. So give yourself just small milestones to hit or small progressions to do. I do think you can train a better work ethic.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys tell us, can you train work ethic? Is it something that you just have? I'm really curious about your opinion on this. I think that'll do it for this video. Look, the whole point of this is to encourage you and to tell you the reality. So the reality is that it's possible. The reality is that we don't have $122,000 in our bank because of this. The reality is that we've bettered our lives. Let's look at some milestones of 2020. We paid off our house because of eBay, right? That's the best one. We built a profitable business. That's another really good milestone. We've fixed things around the house. We've invested in a half gym. All that stuff has been paid in cash because, well, we earned it, right? So just think about all the things that you could pay off or that you can afford if you really, really try. Just really try. And don't try for a week. Try for a while, 3, 4, 5 months, and see if you can make some progress and get better at it.
Yeah. And next year we'll probably include what we made off YouTube as part of our income, but we gave everything that we made off YouTube away. So zero. We made zero this year off YouTube, so it doesn't count. So that's it for our year 2020 year in review. We hope this provided some value to you. We hope it provided some insights, and we're very excited for 2021. We have a lot of big things in the works. We hope you're going to stick around and follow us on that journey.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully this inspired you a little bit just to give reselling a real opportunity, a real shot. You guys take care.
Have a good night.